6:01.
Okay, during the Board of Health meeting excuse me 1 minute, please. The February 11th Board of Health meeting, we'll bring that into session right now. Roll call.
Christian Roman Ramirez, Vice Chairman.
And Charles Serene.
James Queer. Reappointment of officers. Okay, I have had ample opportunity to do this position, and right now I have to say I want to step down from this position. So who would like to make a motion for somebody else to take over as chair?
I'll make a motion for Kristen to take over as chair.
Okay, you accept that motion, Kristen.
I accept the motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, you are now chair, Kristen. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Correct.
Okay, you need to have a motion for the vice chair position.
Oh, and a motion for the vice chair position, Paul, you up for that?
I will accept it if
Are you making a motion?
I make a motion for Paul to become vice
vice
chair.
chair, okay?
And I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And I'm gonna
Okay,
sit here
and then the clerk position needs a motion to the clerk, which the only person that's left is Jim. So is there a motion on the table for someone to nominate Jim as?
I nominate Jim as clerk for the Board of Health.
I second that.
Okay,
All in favor, will vote.
aye.
Aye. And that's that.
All nays?
Excellent, thank you.
All right, the ayes have it. So. Why do I have those glasses? I'm sitting here with the ones Jim got me. Oh, like,
Any additions or deletions at this time?
We have no septic permits, so next on the agenda, 1.4, and Rick is not here because of that. So the next item on your agenda is the Neshoba Board of Health presentation, and you do have them online. Great.
Well, welcome to the Neshoba Board of Health presentation, Jim Garaffi and the state, and regarding the state of the agency. Welcome.
We can't hear you.
You're muted, Jim.
I'll never get used to being online, these presentations. So, thank you very much for having us. Kristen, congratulations on becoming chairman.
Thank you.
So with me tonight is our communication education specialist, Jenna Montgomery, and Kelly Kaleos, who are our shared system association coordinator. So we'll be doing the presentation together.
Great. Would it be possible to get permission to share my screen?
Yes, it would be.
I don't think that there's a problem with that. Let me.
oh, yes,
see
I
it.
have no problem with it, but
I don't have any issues with that, but that's more the tech people.
yeah, hopefully they're listening.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Okay, sweet.
From the beginning. So thank you very much for having us here tonight, guys. We appreciate it. I am Jenna Montgomery, communications specialist. So we just have a presentation for you tonight just to catch you up a little bit on what's been going on with the agency. So here are our discussion points for the evening. Jim's going to give us a little update on the state of the agency. We're going to cover our public health excellence grant funding that we get as a health district, as well as tell you a little bit more about the foundational public health services that are really kind of the framework that we're all working towards with the public health excellence grant funding in Massachusetts. We're going to go over our PHE work plan and sustainability initiatives at a very high level, just to give you guys an idea of what we're working on there. And then lastly, we'll talk about our CTCI grant and give you a little bit more information on how that's been helping us out. So this is Jim. Take it away, Jim.
Thank you very much, Jenna. So what I wanted to do, the agency operates under a set of bylaws, and those bylaws require that we hold quarterly meetings, our governing body meetings, and all of the members of all of our member boards are invited to attend. Each town gets a vote. So at a budget meeting, and that's where we'll start, is the budget assumptions. Kind of a tight year as all of your towns are facing, and some additional things that are making it more challenging for us. The town of Littleton has decided to leave the agency and create their own health department. So we're going to lose that assessment and the fees from the town of Littleton. We're hoping to make up a bunch of that by not filling a position that wasn't filled at this point, and by increasing the assessments and the fees by 10%. Again, the goal is to try to maintain the staff we have and maintain the services that we provide to the communities. Get a little cost comparison for what the amounts that we charge, how it kind of relates to costs in town. The assessments, so two major portions to our budget. The assessments are those amounts that your communities pay per capita to be a part of the Neshoba Associated Boards of Health. And the second major source of funding for the agency are the fees that we collect for certain services. So right now, the membership communities, you're paying essentially about $6 per person for the public health services. If we add in that the fees that we collect, the cost for us to deliver services to our member communities is about $12 a person. Just to give you some comparison, the statewide average for health departments is about $17.56. And one other piece of information Jenna will touch on it a little bit later on, is we're part of the Department of Public Health's Excellent Grant Program, where the state has provided additional monies to essentially promote regionalization and support boards of health. So we currently receive a 3-year grant, so it's good for about another 2 years. And if we add that funding in, we get up to about $15.50 per person. So it's a significant amount of funding that we're getting from the Department of Public Health to help provide staff for the district. One of the things we're doing, and this is one of the requirements that we had put on ourselves as part of the work plan for the Public Health Excellent Grant, is to update our agency bylaws. The last time the bylaws were updated for the agency was 1996, with the exception of accepting 2 new communities, once in 2008, 2009, and one in 2016. So since otherwise it's been the same set of bylaws. Some of the important things that have changed district-wide: we used to have a visiting nurses association as part of the agency. We had to close that service last year, and some of the revisions to the bylaws are trying to address the loss of that agency. We hope to get out drafts to all the board members so they can actually take a look at the revised drafts. We have gone through probably 3 meetings of iterations of different changes to the bylaws. And so we think we have what may be a final set that we want the board to consider, hopefully at our March meeting, our March quarterly meeting. And you should all be receiving a notice about that March meeting probably right at the beginning of March. So I'm happy to take any questions from any of the board members.
Any questions from, no?
Okay. So the second slide that some of you may or may not know, I know we've tried to make sure that both in our public meetings and in the minutes that get sent out to the board members, Neshoba is part of the state retirement system. We, the agency, petitioned back in 1967. And at that point in time, the state, the agreement was that the agency would pay the employer's portion as people were joining the pension fund, and the agency would be paying when people started withdrawing pensions from the fund. We'd be paying the employer portion as well. The problem was that the folks that might have been our staff back then and the state staff at the state pension fund, it wasn't really aware. They all both weren't aware of the situation, so we weren't receiving bills from the state, and nobody at the staff at the time really understood or knew about the requirement to send in the employer's contribution. So we ended up in 2014 getting a letter from pension fund essentially stating, we haven't billed you for this. We're now going to start billing you for this. We're forgiving you for all the years we didn't bill it, but going forward, you need to be paying the employer portion. It is a significant amount of money, and it's done in such a way that makes it very difficult for us to budget it. Essentially, all of the people who retired from Neshoba who have a little piece of we have a little piece of the responsibility for their retirement. Each year, about 16 months after they've gotten that money, when the state's kind of figured out what they've spent, they send us a bill. So again, it's always in a little more than a year in arrears. I think the last one was about $600,000. So we've got a pretty significant debt with the state pension fund. This past year, there were two legislative bills that were set up hopefully to resolve this issue. They did not pass. So after that happened, our auditor raised questions about our financial stability because on the books, we have this very large debt to the pension fund. So we've been working since 2014 to try to come up with a legislative solution to this. That's essentially what we were told by the pension fund. They have to collect that. They have to bill the money. That's their responsibility. They can't make adjustments in how it's being, how the money's sent into the state. And so we have worked to get, we've as an agency filed our own bill early on. We've sat on a committee that the state formed to try to come to a resolution with these pension issues. We have supported and kind of advocated with our state reps and senators when there was legislation pending. And that's what happened this past fall. All of last year, our chief financial officer, Terry Coonahan, was working with the different state reps and state senators who cover our district, along with the state treasurer's office, to try to keep tabs of what was happening. We met with our senators and reps to encourage them to support this bill so we could get it passed. But unfortunately, it did not get passed. So there's a deadline for each legislative session, and we're in a new session right now. It just started. So early January, new bills for the next session, which is the next 2-year session, had to be filed. Terry worked hard with the state treasurer's office and with Representative Scarsdale and Senator Eldridge to get bills filed. So there are now 3 new bills, all pretty similar to try to address this pension issue. And the 2 big pieces for us that make it important, instead of paying the employer part in arrears, the bills would instead having us pay, I guess, as Social Security does, have you pay a portion of salaries going forward, which is much more budgetable. It's predictable. We know how much money we need to be putting aside. And the second part would deal with how to address the arrearage that's owed. So it's an issue we're working on. Our next step is to get in touch with the town administrators and town managers in all your towns to have this discussion with them to see if we can get them on board to advocate the reps that are covering all our towns to get on board with this legislation. I know that's a lot. It covers a whole bunch of years. Is there any questions on the pension issue we're dealing with? Okay. And if you have questions, if you think of questions later on, certainly you have my email. You're more than happy to shoot an email, give a call. I'm more than happy to talk to any one of you individually if you'd like as well.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
All right, so my role as communications specialist, I obviously have to pop in and talk about communications a little bit. So that's what this slide is all about. So just wanted to check in and see how communications are going. Obviously, you have a designated health agent, Rick Metcalf, who maintains consistent communication with the board, as well as staff and residents to address local issues effectively. As Jim, I think, mentioned, we aim to enhance engagement with board members on critical topics like these budget things, this pension issue, and our public health excellence grant as well. We know there are diverse communication preferences across the health district. We celebrate that. That's great. And we're committed to providing timely updates and creating accessible channels for feedback and collaboration. I think along those lines, I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but a question to just let hang there. You can feel free to answer it now or email me later if something comes to mind. But if there is anything at all at any point in time that you feel that we could do to improve our communications or a different channel through which we could get that information out, I'm all ears all the time, not just this time of year. And the other thing I wanted to mention is we're going to try to make this a regular practice. Trying to come like once a year and give you guys, all of our boards in the district, kind of an update on what we've been up to and what's been going on, just to keep those channels of communication open. The other very specific sort of thing would be if there's anything that we can do to make it easier for you to attend executive committee and quarterly meetings, please let us know. We know that there's multiple competing priorities. They're late at night. You guys are volunteers. You work hard, and it can be tough. That said, though, if there's anything that you can think of that would make it easier for you to get there, let us know, and we'll take it into consideration. Alrighty. Next slide. And there it goes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kelly. I am one of the newest employees of Neshoba. I've been here for about 8 months. I am the shared service coordinator, so I really take a look at the Public Health Excellence Grant and make sure that we're doing all that we can under that grant to comply with the state initiatives. Basically, what the purpose of that grant is to enhance local capacity for local public health services. It's allowed us to hire additional staffing. So myself, Jenna, 2 health agents, a part-time food inspector, those were all hired not utilizing any funds that come from you. Those are all funds that come from the state, the local office of local and regional health, which is a subdivision of DPH, which is the Department of Public Health. We were also able to increase and do some improvement for our inspectional processes, making sure that we have the best software for our inspectors to do the job and do the job well. We are also, some of our goals for this year are to do some training programs for our inspectors. So there's a program called MassFit. They have a MassFit food and a MassFit housing, really trying to standardize the training across all inspectors in the region and across the state. Also trying to standardize our operating procedures internally so that it's consistent across all of our municipalities and staff.
So Mass Department of Public Health loves to say it, and so I like to say it. We're all on a journey together towards adopting what's called the Foundational Public Health Services that really makes up the framework for the consistency that we're working towards with this public health excellence funding. Foundational Public Health Services have been around for a while. They've been fully adopted by a number of other states in the US. And in 2019, Massachusetts identified with their Blueprint for Public Health Excellence that this was sort of the framework that we were all going to work towards adopting to kind of standardize public health across Massachusetts. So the Foundational Public Health Services consist of 5 foundational areas, which are those bubbles across the top, also known as public health programs, and 8 cross-cutting foundational capabilities, which are those little boxes at the bottom. So we're just kind of setting out on this journey. We have been going to a lot of webinars. I think Jim and Kelly can both tell you it's kind of been like getting fire hosed a little bit. They're giving us a lot of information at once, but we're learning about the process, and we are embarking on a shared services review, which is currently in process. This is an exercise that the Department of Public Health is having all shared services arrangements in the state work through. And it's kind of giving us a nice benchmark of where we are at in terms of both cost of delivering services and also like how much time we dedicate to each particular facet of the work, if you will. So that's what we're working on right now. We're getting a lot of technical assistance as well. So that's the Foundational Public Health Services.
So in addition to going through the Foundational Public Health Services and that whole review, we do have work plan items for fiscal year 25. Again, as Jim had kind of said earlier, this grant is funded through fiscal year of 27. So we have a little bit more time on this, but this is our work plan for this year. So we're really looking at those bylaws, like Jim had said earlier, looking at the sustainability of our programming and making sure that we have job satisfaction, making sure our employees want to stay with us, implementing staff onboarding, mentoring, retention strategies, just making sure everybody is trained appropriately and feels comfortable in the job with the resources that we're able to give them. And then formalizing some inspectional services, the improvements, like I had said, that we are looking at that inspectional software, and then looking also at our disease control initiatives and how we can standardize the way that we follow up on communicable diseases. And then lastly, this is a separate pot of money. This money also comes from the Department of Public Health, but it's the Contact Tracing and Case Investigation Grant. This got released around the same time as the Public Health Excellence Grant got released, but this was intentionally sent out for us to do some contact tracing and case investigation. But shortly after this was released, they no longer required that for COVID-19. So that opened up the opportunity for us to do a little bit more. It has to have an epidemiological background to it. So we are looking at enhancing our internal databases to track public health services and really doing a community health profile in access to care. That is only funded through June of 2026, so through fiscal year 26. And then all that funding will be gone.
All right, and that concludes our presentation. Do you guys have any questions for us?
Any questions from our board members?
No, there's a lot to absorb, but
Yes.
thank you for your job.
We want to thank the Neshoba Associate Board of Health for their presentation, excellent presentation, I might say. And we look forward to keep on working with you guys, okay?
Great. Thank you very much for having us. And again, if you have any questions, Jenna has all our contact information up there. Certainly let us know, and we're more than happy to, again, if it's an off-site, off a phone call offline or a meeting, happy to chat with you.
Sure. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. So nice to meet you.
Take care.
Nice to meet you.
Bye-bye.
I think that was our first presentation.
It
Yes, it
was.
was our first presentation.
This is my second.
Second. Okay.
Of them.
Okay, so going to our agenda, 1.6, Shaw's and Sons contract proposal.
Okay.
We have into our consideration a 3-year contract for collection only from July 25 to June 27. Says here, as part of the annual MSW recycling curbside collection fee for $478,980, which is this number.
Okay.
Second year.
And then the second year would be $480,000 for the second year.
And that number is, just to let you know, from the first proposal that we had with them. The first year stayed the same, the $478,980. But the second year was $493,350. So he's gone down approximately $5,000
Okay.
on year 2.
Okay.
And then on year 3, he goes to $500,550. And on the previous proposal, year 3 was $508,200. So he's gone down $8,200 on year 3.
Which is $500,550 on fiscal year 27. And he had divided the municipal part, which is separate from the residential trash contract. Have we received any other offers regarding?
Nobody else wanted in on it.
We have not. I'm a little confused why the municipal buildings are still included in this, because I thought that when I spoke to Glenn that he was going to take out the municipal buildings. When Veronica spoke at the Board of Selectmen meeting last week, she had concerns that Littleton was less expensive than Townsend. And after speaking to Glenn, he said because the reason why Lunenburg is less is because Lunenburg's municipal buildings are not included in their contract. It's approximately $50,000 a year. So their municipal buildings, when you look at this municipal buildings, total monthly charge $860. So just do the math on that. It really shouldn't be in this. So I don't know if that takes this number down from 500, 550, and I'm just looking at year 3 because that's where we last were. But I really feel that should be taken out. It's very important that the residents know that that the trash contract is not included in the municipal buildings.
And I think we made it clear to Shaw's
We did.
that in previous meetings that the municipal buildings trash was not gonna be included in this contract, which is something separate that the select board has to deal with that on their own. And that
Yes.
what is put on our table is the residential trash contract.
So I did receive this quite late today, so I didn't have time to go back to Shaw's and ask them to take out the municipal building, but I believe that that's gonna change the number, so I'm not confident that this number with the 4 collection only is the right number. And then if you look at the all-in-one number, the municipal buildings are also still included in that, so we really have to get the municipal buildings off of these proposals.
Can I head in there? Can I-
Yes,
So I'm Irene Condon. I have 2 different hats on. One is I'm the Mass DEP. I'm the regional recycling coordinator. The town received a technical assistance grant for trash to help in the process. I'm also the recycling committee chair, so I'm a resident here in town. The Shaw's, nobody wants to bid because Shaw's undercuts everybody. It gives you the best rate. And a lot of communities, if they can get it all included, is cheaper. If you have a separate contract, which I do have some communities that just do municipal buildings only, that's normally a very higher, it's a bigger number than if it's
And what's going
included.
on with Lunenburg? Why did it happen recently in Lunenburg?
So Lunenburg has a new contract. I have seen it a little bit, but I did not see the differences between municipal and their curbside program. But just note that he has given us a cheaper rate for everything. Like if we tried, it would be a lot higher. And I'm actually really surprised when I saw the numbers for 3 years. That was a lot less because we went pay as you throw. He is actually, because we've been flat rated, he gave us the discount. He definitely gave us the discount. And because he got Lunenburg, he seems to be okay that we don't need to have carts, which would be $100 per household to add in. So he's before the last time we talked to him, he wanted everybody to be in carts.
Okay, so that's the automated system.
Yeah,
You-
So that was not noted in this contract.
No,
So, and Lunenburg does not have that either. So, but his other contract is Leominster. Leominster does have automated.
okay.
So I was really thinking he was gonna push us because he kind of said that a year ago. But I just,
He was trying.
right,
We couldn't get,
because that's just too much of an
Support.
expense just to pick it up. It's really it helps him, it doesn't help us. Of just the added
Yeah.
cost, because everybody has cards or whatever.
Yeah.
I do recommend kind of keeping it in. Our time is short. They're upstairs talking about budgets right now. To go out to a separate bid for municipal will take longer. I'm just saying, it just.
We've already attempted that though, nobody got back to us.
Right, just to get you, and he's gonna give you a number and he's gonna inflate it then to say, okay, that this is one pot of money and the other pot of money. You can always just split up a contract of saying where the money's coming from. That's an internal.
it's all line item, right?
Right,
here.
so
a
it's
simple
internal
math.
and just, right.
Yeah, this is.
So you have a contract and you can say this earmark is for this and this earmark is for here. That's a town treasurer thing,
Okay,
not a
so we can
contract.
do it internal. That
Yes.
makes sense. Yeah.
I'm
that
just
can be
saying,
done.
just recommending that if you do, it will be higher for him because he has to do more paperwork
No,
to
that,
do that.
that would be our responsibility to bill it back to municipalities, the police, the fire. They'll have to cover it under their budgets.
I think that you should really talk to the accountant and make sure that she's okay with this before you make any decisions.
All right.
I don't think that the board has the authority to make those types of decisions. The residents were more than they were very vocal that they wanted the municipal dumpsters out of the trash contract. The Board of Health was more than vocal, letting Glenn know that they want this out of the contract, so I'm not sure why they're in it.
And in theory,
And if you
he's
go
gonna
for an
make this.
override or you go for a trash fee, the residents are gonna be very upset to see that in the contract. So I would suggest that
Okay,
has a separate contract.
Yeah.
That it's taken out for clarity for the residents to make sure that they're not paying for their municipal dumpsters.
okay.
Everybody, I'm as a resident, I'm still gonna pay for it. If you take it out of my taxes, or if you're gonna take it out of my pocket, or you're gonna take it out of the bags, I'm still paying for it.
But it makes sense to make it clear that, that the municipal number, even though all goes together, budget-wise and number-wise, to make it clear that, that it has to be, separate. Any other questions or any comments about this contract?
No.
One, talking about separation, just know that you're not an enterprise fund. So one thing that happens is all money that goes into the town account and goes into the town. It's not like some towns have enterprise where everything is line itemed to say it. I mean, you do have line items, but it's not, in this piggy bank comes out, the money comes in, the money comes out, like your water department. The water department is it's an enterprise fund. So this
So-
trash program is still not an enterprise fund. So even if you have different line items, it's still going into the general fund
General fund.
to have this discussion, even if it's a small item, like if it's in a revolving account, like the transfer station, that's still general fund. It's not an enterprise fund.
Where did the bag, the money from
It
the
also-
bags, that's not,
It's all general
it
fund.
just goes into general fund, okay.
Excuse
You
me,
don't have,
can I ask a question or make a comment? This is Cindy King.
Hello, Cindy. Go
Hi.
ahead. Go ahead.
I wanted to shout out on the on that conversation about the municipal buildings. I was the one that brought that up that joint meeting that we had. I think what I'm looking for, and I think what the townspeople are looking for, is not to necessarily have a separately contracted piece, but just getting a guesstimate, even if it doesn't have to be to the exact penny, but to separate so that get a number of some kind from Shaw's to say this is how much trash you're generating that's not coming from those 3150 residents or whatever that number is. That because the townspeople are concerned on those purple bags, if that's the way we're going to go, my understanding is that might be the end of it. But if we're going to stick, as far as paying either trash fee or purple bags, that only the 1, 2, and 3 family residents are paying for all the municipal buildings, despite other taxpayers in town that aren't going to be paying for the municipal buildings. If the town, i.e. the Board of Selectmen and the budget process for the town, is saying, okay, it's $800,000 for the entire trash contract, and we're going to try to get purple bags to pay for that entire trash contract, when, wait a minute, this isn't residential trash, and it's not fair that only the 1, 2, and 3 family residents have to pay for the entire trash bill for every inch of Townsend. And that's not fair. So I think if my opinion anyway, is that those purple bags, or even if they were to change it to a trash fee, but that should be to pay for the 1, 2, and 3 family residents only. So the municipal trash should be under the regular tax collection process, the budgeting process for the town, but the purple bags should be adequate to cover just the residential trash. So, I mean, you're not going to sell enough purple bags at $3.50 to pay for the entire town's trash bill. But I think it is adequate to pay for the 3150 residents. If I'm guessing on that number, but you know what I'm saying? That it's just to separate the numbers so that when the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee and whoever's doing the budgeting can say, okay, this is the 3150 is the purple bag people, and that's what this costs. That we're collecting the money, and it's the residential trash costs this much to pick up, so that you can figure it out. But if you're trying to use purple bag money to pay for town hall, the fire department, the highway department, your numbers are never going to add up. And it's just not fair that the businesses and the the major multifamily dwellings, their taxes should fund the rest of the town hall trash just as much as us. So, so that's what we were talking about a few meetings ago. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cindy, for your comments. To my board members, can we have a motion to recommend to the Board of Selectmen, the 3-year contract?
All in or collection only?
Collection only, correct? The collection only numbers to the Board of Selectmen, as a Board of Health, making emphasis that the municipal trash should be separated from the contract. Because I think that these numbers, excluding the municipal numbers, I don't think we're gonna get any other numbers like this.
And it works out to only 9,600 a year. His total bill for those collections is 800 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 96. We were thinking 50,000, but it's really
Okay, well, it's 50,000 in Lunenburg.
in Lunenburg.
In Lunenburg.
Okay.
And I believe that
Schools
includes
included.
schools.
They make a
yes.
lot of trash.
Oh, the schools.
apparently. Okay.
Okay,
So
3 buildings of schools, yeah, 4.
But here, the municipal is, what he has,
it's gonna go up. The first month is
800,
and
yeah,
it goes up a little bit. Yeah.
yeah.
8 times 12 is 96. So
So can we present can someone present a motion to recommend the budget for the collection only as a board?
I
You present a
present a
motion?
motion to recommend the collection only and
I'll second it.
you'll second that.
And how do we vote? We vote, are ready to vote? Who say aye?
Aye.
Aye. So,
And try and get the separate contract, and the selectmen will be discussing this with us on Thursday at the budget meeting.
So just clarification, are you getting a separate contract or you're just gonna emphasize
We're just recommending.
to have what the numbers is so that when the accounting
Oh.
says this is the curbside program, this is the municipal trash program?
Yes.
So, but it's just numbers, it's not a separate contract,
No,
there's not
no,
another
no,
number,
no,
there's not another piece of paper and
No,
other things, so
no.
I just wanna clarify that.
no, it's not.
So in all honesty, I think we're gonna get less trash over time, more recycling. I think the tonnages are gonna go down. I don't think they're gonna go up. We're already seeing it for the last 3 months, considerable. So I think it's not a bad gamble for the town to go with collection only estimating
I'm gonna step off
250.
that tonight.
All right.
Carla, do we have to sign this as?
No.
No, sign it.
No, nothing is signed right now. You're gonna recommend to the selectmen. And what I would like to do is talk to Glenn about separating the two and talking to Nelson, the town administrator, about bringing that contract to legal for review, because you obviously want to have legal review it before you
Yeah.
sign it.
He's picking up for free all the baseball fields.
He always
and stuff.
has.
He always has.
Always has.
Very nice. Yeah. So.
So I think, we have to talk about this on Thursday meeting too then, or?
I think that the selectmen will ask you what your thoughts are, what the Board of Health is recommending to the selectmen. They'll know already because they're gonna have the email tomorrow, if not tonight,
Okay,
what the Board of Health has, and what you are supporting, which proposal.
okay.
Okay?
Next on our agenda, invoices.
Invoices, we have 3, we have Advo Waste, which is the needles, the kiosk out here. We have Unitil, which apparently is going up all over the place because it's now at 426. It was 325 last month.
Thank you.
Thank you, Irene.
Thank you.
And we have Shaw's bill, which is their 68,500. Their tonnage was 133, which we were averaging on January is about 220. So that's how much it's gone down.
Wow.
It was 135 in December. It was 129 in November. December and January are always very higher. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw it go down to 100 in February and March,
Okay.
which will literally be half what it was. Again, the Unitil bill, which is just one, and the Needle kiosk. Now, in the future, I don't think we're gonna be doing these separately. We have a new warrant that the accountant has asked, and she said, why doesn't the board just sign this for us? So going forward, we won't have each individual one for you to sign. I'll just have the bills
Oh.
attached. Then you can look at this and then you'll just sign this one thing. Okay, it'll be a lot easier.
There'll be only one, we don't have to sign, okay.
Each one, you'll just sign the one warrant article that has each invoice, the numbers, what account it's coming out of, and the amount.
Wow, 750. The electric bill.
Well, no, it's only 426 because they're behind because we got a little late. The current bill is 426.
Still, that's
That's high. Last month it was 325. Before that it was 2.
Mine was 1,200.
Well,
1,600 the month before.
I'm so blessed that I am in a place that's utilities are included. I can't imagine how people can budget right now.
and this one for Admiral Waits, this is for.
This is for the needle kiosk that's at the front of the town hall. When the people come in, they pay $5 to dispose of their needles. And when the bin is full, I call them and they come by to pick it up.
What did we do in October that caused the power to triple?
I
The
think-
consumption.
I think the heat was on.
Okay, so the heat came on.
At the recycling
already.
center?
The recycling center, okay.
But are they turning off the heat or?
Oh, there's a little thing. In fact, I get nervous sometimes when it goes really down that we've turned it down too low. And I will actually ask the facility director, because he drives by on his way home, would you check the thermostat and make sure it's not at 55? Because the pipes have frozen in previous years because we keep it down so low
Oh,
when
okay.
we leave.
Okay.
So I was gonna say, I'll get them a barrel, they can burn some of the trash and stay warm, save some.
So you don't need this one right now.
So this one, you handed me, you haven't signed it. I'll sign it and then hand it back to you. Right.
And then the last thing that's on your agenda is the minutes, which you've been looking at, which I think were very helpful for this meeting. And you also have the old proposals that are attached, so we can make sure that when they go to the clerk for the minutes that they have the proposals from Shaw's in here.
Okay. Are we gonna be able to hold on to these?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, good, thank you.
Okay. Let me see the
The
minute.
minutes you gave us for January,
Mhm.
that,
All you have to do is just initial it,
okay, all right.
and that was our last meeting,
So,
which I think is
Where do you wanna initiate?
just at the top, right here.
okay,
So you need this full packet too?
If you want to hold on to it, you can. I only need one copy.
okay.
I like to have everybody initial their copies, but I honestly throw out 2 of them and keep one of them, and then I copy that, it goes to the clerk for her records, and then we have records in our office.
Cool signature.
Oh, thanks, that's the shorter version. Oh,
That's
Jim.
What was this for? Actually, didn't-
No, this is for, so Carla was invited to the select board, meeting on Thursday, is it?
Thursday.
To review the Board of Health budget.
Okay,
And I told Carla that I was gonna participate on that meeting with her as well,
okay,
as part of the Board of Health. and she gave me the numbers about that, and since we are recommending a trash contract recommendation on that, probably they're gonna ask us about that, and I think that somebody from the board needs to be present to in representation of the board to talk about why we thought about the numbers of this actual contract, so
Okay.
okay. And we have the well repair proposal landfill continue on April 25.
Yes.
Really?
Well, I wasn't sure what was going on and we don't need to do anything until the summer.
Yeah.
So I thought it was also better to wait until April to see how much money we had in the operating accounts. In May and June, we've been told they don't want any spending. Don't come to us if you have $5,000 left over 2 weeks before the budget closes and buying things. So we'll look at April, we'll see how much money is there. We're not gonna be able to fund the whole thing, but we have the general revolving account, we have the capital account. I would like to use as much of the operating budget that we have, so I thought April was a good way to
And
go.
this is to repair the pump at
One of the
the
wells.
wells.
Yes, it's collapsed and they can't get inside to collect the water sample that shows us the gases and the VOCs that are in the water.
Okay.
DEP accepted it this year, but they did make a note saying at any time they could come back and say, we're not accepting the sample because you need to fix your well.
How
So-
deep is this well? Is it, any idea?
It wouldn't be that deep, it's just to get the runoff from
Right.
the lagoon.
It's, no, it's deep. Don't you remember when we?
Is it that deep, Carl?
I think so.
Yeah,
I
I'm
couldn't
sorry.
see the bottom of
60
it.
feet or?
Probably.
How much?
60, okay.
Probably.
So that's a strip as well.
Yeah. Don't you
So
remember
that's easy.
they had to, there was training that, they offered because the people who had to go into the well, it was such an enclosed place that they needed actual training to be able to be in an enclosed place. Do you remember
I
that?
do now, yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty freaked out about that because I was thinking I wouldn't go in there. And then when they opened it up, it was just so overwhelming to just see that if someone fell in there, there would be no way for them to get out, so.
Oh, wow. Yeah, good point. So, all right.
Yeah,
Takes a special person to be able to crawl into those little tiny spaces. I don't know how they do it.
Thank goodness for training.
Yes. So,
and we have the performance review continue on our next meeting on the 25th.
Correct.
okay.
And next meeting, 2/25/25. Strike form regulation public hearing and continue on 3/11/25. Before we close the meeting, do we have anything else?
Yes, I want to, I'm going to be resigning as of, the next election. I'm going to be, all done.
You're not gonna, okay.
I'm not gonna make my 2 more years, so I'm gonna make till then, and I'm gonna resign. I have issues going on with my health, et cetera. And I'm not thinking properly, and I can't make good decisions at this time, so I don't wanna be making important decisions for anybody. I have a mental health issue. So that way they can get other people to pull
Very
it out.
humbling, Jim, to make that decision.
Huh?
It's very humbling for you to make that decision.
I can't make good decisions for myself right now, so I can't make good decisions for anybody else. So I will be done at the election time,
When is that? April?
April.
Okay.
That way there's somebody else can run
All
and
right.
take this spot, because I've been here long enough. I've done my thing for the town of Townsend,
Okay.
and it's time for me to go.
Well, you can come and sit and yell at us.
I will say that if there's any question on some septic drawings, and you need an opinion,
Okay.
I will gladly give you that,
Okay.
because I know neither one of you have that experience, so I'm willing to
All I know
make
is
that happen.
it has to
Sitting there
flow
with this
down.
little smirky smile.
Yeah.
Operator.
So,
And we want to thank Mr. James McQueer for all the work that he's done for the town of Townsend. And
I'm not leaving yet, we'll be in elections.
24 years.
Huh?
24 years.
Yes.
You've given the town a lot. Thank you.
Well, we want to thank you for all your service here at the town of Townsend, and we appreciate your service. We appreciate your
It's been a
service.
pleasure assisting people here, been a pleasure.
So, anything else that we have before we leave? I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
You can